Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things ready through a common sense lens. And man, oh man, I don't know what I was thinking back in the 90s and the early 2000s, thinking some of these OG guys out there were really as hardcore as what they all claim to be. But I guess it turns out, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, once you get past the stage of having to get out of the hood, once you have to stop struggling every day, and you get yourself that nice little cushy elite life, you really don't want to rock the boat. And obviously, we've seen this in the past. There was I think it was Ice Cube a while back, years back, who lives in New York, was talking about all the crazy taxes stuff and was like, screw this, I'm voting for Trump. And then, of course, it didn't take long before they talked to him, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, 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 never mind, I'm just kidding, yada, yada, yada. I was just frustrated. Because it doesn't seem to take very long before all of these gangsters out there in the modern rap day, these legends, these OG godfathers of this world out there, boy, I'll tell you what, just when you think they're still as hardcore as what they were, all it takes is sit, boy, stay, play dead, roll over, let me pat your belly, because Snoop Doggy Dogg, boys and girls, has bent the knee to the acolytes of the cult out there. If you don't remember, Snoop was on a podcast not too long ago and got some heat from saying what even Disney itself admitted, that having a couple of gay moms and a weird little kiss and having to explain that to children in the Lightyear movie wasn't exactly the best marketing decision. And Grandpa Snoop didn't feel comfortable taking his grandkids to that movie. Well, a little common sense was actually shining through out there in the world of pop culture, and it didn't take long before they whipped him right back onto the Colts plantation, boys and girls, because Snoop Doggy Dogg has officially been told to sit and stay, and he's even been taught to bend the knee. Because as you can see over here from CosmicBook.News, Snoop Dogg bends the knee, teams with GLAAD, adds gay couples to kids shows. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, all of a sudden we go from Snoop Doggy Dogg being a bastion of common sense out there in a world that seems like celebrities are so far removed of that, to just another simp for the spirit of the age who has bent the knee and is now promoting the evil ideology that he initially and correctly, completely and totally rejected. Boy, he ain't so gangster anymore now, is he, boys and girls? So we're going to take this article from CosmicBook.News, getting all of the juicy details of exactly what this absolute abomination of indoctrination of satanic literature into children's entertainment is going to be. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding. We are growing. We just crossed 2,300. We're sailing our way towards 24. I think we're sitting at like 2,305, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below letting what do you think about all this. Were you actually excited to support Snoop Dogg going forward after all of the backlash he got from just saying an honest and common sense thing? Or are you another one of those crazy activists out there who is absolutely so glad that you do still have power over these Hollywood celebrities out there and you can cause them to bend the knee and tell them to sit, stay, and be a very good boy out there? Let us know what you think about that in that comment section down below, because unlike Hollywood, all opinions are actually welcome down there. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the description. All right, boys and girls, from our dear sweet Matt McGloin over there at CosmicBook.News. After his Lightyear controversy, Snoop Dogg has changed his tune and his cartoon. That's right, all of that fun time with Grandpa Snoop, the kids show with his softer side, is going to turn into nothing more than more LGBTQ alphabet soup nonsense propaganda aimed directly at toddlers and preschool age children. Yay! The rapper and entrepreneur has partnered with GLAAD to promote LGBTQ awareness through his animated children's shows Doggyland on YouTube. Well, there's one that you need to ban from all of your children's kids' YouTube accounts now, isn't it, boys and girls? That's Doggyland on YouTube. The move comes after LGBTQ backlash over his remarks on Pixar's Lightyear, when he admitted he was caught off guard by the film's same-sex couple and the questions it raised from his grandson. And back to what we talked about at the beginning of this, Pixar's own fired employees who spoke to IGN said flat out two things. One, Disney would not allow them to put all their LGBTQ propaganda into Inside Out 2, and two, that the Disney executives specifically blamed the flop and failure of Lightyear on the inclusion of the LGBTQ propaganda. That's not me saying that's Disney's own fired employees speaking to IGN, boys and girls. So yeah, even Disney knew the Lightyear thing was a mistake. Even Disney knew this stuff doesn't sell. But clearly the cult still has sway over Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop appeared on the It's Giving podcast earlier this year, recalling how his grandson questioned how two women could have a baby after watching Lightyear. Because they can't, not without a male. The clip went viral before being deleted from YouTube, with Snoop saying he didn't have an answer for his grandson's questions. Exactly the problem. Now, though, how things have changed. They sure did crack that whip on Snoop Dogg, huh? And now he's right back in line with everybody else out there. It's almost like what LBJ said about passing the Civil Rights Act was completely and totally true. Don't know that one? Look it up for you, boys. Look it up, boys and girls. You'll have a blast. That one will blow your mind. Now Snoop has teamed up with GLAAD for Spirit Day. Yay! An annual event where celebrities and brands wear purple to show support for LGBTQ youth. You know, something that actually doesn't exist unless there's some very damaging, nasty things happen to them. As a guy who actually had to do the secular argument, the non-religious argument, right? I had to go through and research all of this stuff, right? Almost 99% of the cases you run across of adult homosexuality relate directly back to trauma in their childhood. I know that's an uneasy fact to state, but it's true. Don't believe me? Do the research yourself. Honestly, don't believe me. Do the research yourself. They don't make children. They indoctrinate yours, boys and girls. He appeared alongside the voice contestant, Jeremy Bellotti, an openly gay artist who competed on Team Snoop, to discuss bullying, acceptance, and their new collaboration. Yay! Love is love. That's right, boys and girls. Love is love. Just like between a man and his goat. Don't believe me? Look at history. This is where all of this stuff leads. And honestly, at the end of the day, I'm a pretty hardcore libertarian. And yes, I am very much a Christian. We do a Bible study on Sundays at 2 p.m. But at the end of the day, if you keep it behind closed doors and you're not trying to shove it in my kid's face, I am going to leave you alone. That's how it's always been. That's how I was raised growing up in the 90s. That's how it was in the early 2000s until all the acolytes of the cult took over and drove everybody insane. Remember that whole, let's just, don't ask, don't tell? That thing worked out really well in the 90s. I know. I mean, everything worked really well in the 2000s as well. I know. I served during that time period. I had gay people that I served with. I had no doubt about that in my mind. But you know what? We didn't say anything about it, and nobody made a big deal out of it, and it worked out perfectly just fine. But what has gotten you all of the backlash is trying to force this propaganda into children's entertainment. And parents are not going to allow that. They don't want their kids thinking about adult things while they're supposed to be watching their cartoons, teaching them about shapes, numbers, and letters. This isn't rocket science, boys and girls. Snoop and Bellotti co-write a song called Love is Love, featured in a fresh episode of Doggyland. The track promotes inclusion and features animated same-sex couples and their families. So now Snoop goes from feeling uncomfortable answering the questions that his grandson raised to now intentionally trying to make sure all of your children ask the exact same questions. Wow, what a fucking hypocrite, huh, boys and girls? Our parents are different. No two are the same. But the one thing that's for certain is that love won't change. Families are special. They're so unique. Everybody's got a purpose more than what you see. We love you, parents. We love you so. Sing the pups in the animated series, which of course they want all of your children to repeat like some kind of demonic pagan ritual rant. Weird how all of that stuff seems to kind of coincide. The rapper explained that the idea was to help children understand diverse families through music. It's teaching situations that the kids are going through right now in a beautiful way through song, dance, and melody. I just assume now that Snoop's bowed the knee and gotten completely and totally possessed by the spirit of the age, had that whole indoctrination shoved right up his rear end. That's probably what he sounds like now. Hopefully, we can answer these questions and help them understand that love is love. Is love just love when you're having your pride parades in Seattle and San Francisco that you encourage everybody to bring their children to, where grown men and women are walking around simulating bondage scenes completely and totally in the nude with their genitalia exposed? Is that just love is just love? Sounds like some really creepy indoctrination. Pretty sure in most sane societies, exposing yourself in front of children would put you on a list. I'm pretty sure that's how it actually works, but not out there in woke commie land, now does it? The move marks a clear reversal from his previous stance when Snoop admitted that he was scared to go to the movies after the Lightyear experience. He's now embracing inclusion as part of his brand. And once again, he just spoke up as to why a million families out there don't trust any Disney originals anymore and why all of those things flop miserably at the box office. Because Disney has damaged their brand and no one trusts them anymore. It's a beautiful thing that these kids can have parents of all walks and be shown love, to be taught what love is. Being able to have parents from all walks of life, whether it be two fathers, two mothers, whatever it is, love is the key. Spoke the cultist Snoop Doggy Dogg, boys and girls, formerly known as a hardcore gangster. Below, now signed to Snoop's Death Row Records. Of course he is. Remember when Death Row Records was a hardcore gangster rap place? Yeah. Said the collaboration helped him stay true to himself as an artist while reaching younger audiences with an indoctrination positive message. Because that's what it's all about, boys and girls. They want to reach your kids. I've been saying this for a long time as a father of 6 kids, right? Hopefully maybe more in the future, right? At the end of the day, all we have to do is keep them away from our children for a couple of generations, because they don't have children. They either sterilize their own, or they kill them in the womb, or they simply don't have them at all because, well, they can't unless they steal yours. So at the end of the day, boys and girls, it's one of them situations where if you simply keep your kids away from this crap, the psychopaths out there will all die off, right? Because guess what? The normal run-of-the-mill folks out there don't want to indoctrinate your children. It's the activists and the cultists who want to do this, and those are the ones that Snoop has bent the knee to. And of course, we've all talked about that kind of thing. The whole thing giantly flopped out there. There was backlash because of Tim Allen. I mean, the LA Times literally called it queer bait by Disney out there because of all of the propaganda talking about how it was, we're going to do all this LGBT stuff in it. And then it was like a blink and you miss it kiss situation out there, right? But, you know, there was still the situation of a girl still had 2 moms. And there were still those questions that Snoop Dogg had to uncomfortably try to figure out how to not answer to his grandson out there. But boys and girls, just like so many other situations out there, this is why it's always a wait and see with a lot of these celebrities, because more often than not, especially people that have been this indoctrinated, that are this elite, that live this much of a cushy and pampered life like Snoop Dogg does, it's not long before they realize they're not going to willing to risk that. They will bow down to the knee. They will bend over backwards to support the cult as soon as they get any kind of backlash, as soon as they get any kind of pushback from their elites out there in Hollywood. And at the end of the day, it just proves to you that Snoop Dogg isn't his own man. He has handlers out there just like everyone else out there in Hollywood. And although some people out there in Hollywood are willing to push back, are willing to tell their handlers to piss off, clearly Snoop Dogg is not one of those. Long gone is the gangster hardcore rapper of the 80s and 90s, and now he's nothing more than a simp for the spirit of the age. He is no longer rock and roll. He is nothing more than a geriatric in the nursing home, afraid that he's going to lose his blanket and not get his jello at the end of the day. And all it took was for Snoop Doggy Dogg to have the threat of his jello being taken away for him to go out there and promote the exact same kind of indoctrination that he realized was not good for his own grandson. The real question is, I wonder how much of this Snoop Doggy Dogg will have his grandson watching. Oh, more than likely, just like every other elite out there, it's good for you, but not for me and mine, because I guarantee you Snoop Doggy Dogg won't be showing these videos to his grandson, but he'll gladly virtue signal to the LGBT alphabet soup mafia out there to make sure that his boat doesn't get rocked while your children's minds get warped and indoctrinated. Wow, so stunning, so brave, so gangster, Snoop Doggy Dogg. Turns out he's just another one of the frauds who's danced with the devil in the pale moonlight. And trust me, one way or another, Snoop, you're going to get burned for this. And it will be exactly what you deserve. Pray for repentance. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.